back, gentlemen. Today, our topic of discussion is how to ensure data integrity in AI application. I'm your host, Avinash Misra, and today we will try to understand, and at the end, we will try to ensure our understanding over the library, which is Python library and called Pydantic. So how to use Pydantic to make sure that your data is valid, which is passed into your AI application. Now, even as a audience, I also wanted to know here that why should I learn it, right? That is the first question coming to anybody's, as an audience also, anybody's mind, that what the heck is this? Why should we learn it, right? So let me give you a very brief, but at least certain reason behind it. Imagine the scenario where your user is passing some data which is not expected by your application. I mean to say that, let's say your logic is working on some data type which is supposed to be integer. Now your user is, because of their ignorance maybe, or maybe unawareness, or maybe any definite reason to break your system. Like all these things are possible, right? So by any reason, any one of the reason, they passed the data which is not integer. Just imagine such scenario. Now due to that, in your system, might be your system will behave which is very random in nature, or even the possibility is that your system will crash, or your system will literally doing the malfunctioning. That's it, like this way. Just put it in this way, right? Now the question is, because of invalid input, your system broken down, which is acceptable in case you are working on prototype model or toy model, but it is not acceptable at all if you are working on large system or production system, right? So to be careful for these kind of situation or scenarios, it is always recommended, being a senior members or senior architect or being a senior engineering leader who is knowledgeable in such circumstances, you must make sure that your application, AI application, should only get the valid data. But the question is how you will do it. So to solve that scenario, we have a Pydantic library in Python, which is helping us in these which helping us to make sure that our application will get always a valid data. If in case user by mistake or by the reason, some certain malfunctioning reason, if they want to tweak or they want to break my system, that would be catched by Pydantic before it will come to my application, right? That is what Pydantic will do for you. So let's now go little what exactly we will going to cover here. Let me go through certain instructive points here, right? The first one is importance of data integrity in AI application, which is I already just explained to you. So that is already delivered to you. Now let's try to discuss a little bit about unstructured data, and then we will also see how practically you can do Pydantic enforce schema adherence, right? I mean to say, we have a certain way to make sure, which is through the Pydantic, we can make sure that our system is following as per enforced by schema, right? Now, the first point which I have to discuss now is to get clarification on what do you mean by unstructured and structured data. Now, when we explain unstructured data, we definitely have to understand that you can say like any text which is free form, or images, or JSON response, which is not at all structured, right? Or any output from API in terms of a string or in terms of like JSON, usually considered as an unstructured data. It do not have any structure, right? And by the way, let me clarify one more additional thing here, that mostly AI and generative model are producing commonly, which is considered as a unstructured data. All right. Now, next category. Like when we are learning unstructured, we should also learn structured so that we can compare it. So structured data is primarily any data which is organized by definite schema and rules. Let me repeat again. Any data which is organized by definite or defined schema and rules, that is considered to be as a structured data. Now, the beauty of a structured data is it is always in a expected format. And since it is in a expected format, it will always produce a reliable output, and it always you'd say that your implementation would be based on reliable processing, because you already know what kind of data is expected into the system. So if you know that what is expected and what will come to your system, then you can of course implement accordingly, and that will be a reliable processing for your system or application, right? But in case of otherwise, in other category like unstructured data, you do not have any expected format. So in that case, how you will make sure that your system will not break or your system will not do any malfunctioning? How to save your system, I would say that is the better word, right? So the challenge here is convert your unstructured data into a structured format for safe processing. That is what we will do to make sure that your AI application will get always validated input, right? That is how we can make sure. All right, let's move on. Now, as I told you earlier, that in all these scenarios, one example or one library which is very common in Python and which is very useful, which is called Pydantic. How we will use, I will come to later, but for now, you just try to understand that this Pydantic is a Python library for data validation and settings management. It leverages Python type hints. It leverages type, format, and values. How it will do, I will tell you, but for now, you just understand that Pydantic is a Python library for dynamic data validation at dynamic time and setting management validation. It leverages Python type validation, format validation, and value validation. So all these three categories they are using to validate overall your input or data, I would say. Okay. Now, what is the key feature here? The key feature uses the BaseModel class to define strict data schemas. How you will do, we will come later in our hands-on section. But for now, you just understand that we have a BaseModel class, which is primarily helping us to put the strict data schema. And what are the three categories we are following in this schema? We are checking the type, we are checking the format, we are checking the values. Type means if your input is expected to be an integer, then that input data must be integer. If it is not, it is invalidated over there only. So the first thing is type. Either it is int, string, float, or any other format, right? Type. Okay. Now, next is format. Let me give you one example of format here. One example is like email address. Somebody is passing you an email address in your application. If you do not validate and they will pass any garbage email ID, probably it will not work as expected, right? So what is the use of that data then? That's why this Pydantic library will make sure that if you are expecting email address, it should only somebody, if they are sending data to you, to your application, they will only able to send the valid email address, at least format wise. Now it is correct email IDs or not, that is a separate thing. But here they can make sure that the email address is followed properly. The format is proper. That's it. Okay. And the third is values. Let's take one example. Imagine that you have one number, which is a user ID. Now you define that in your system, only 50,000 ID is possible. Now you started from 1 and put it up to 50,000. This is the valid range for your ID number. Now, by this Pydantic library, you can make sure that if somebody is trying to malfunction your system by putting any junk number or any beyond that value range, then that will be catch before it will come to your application by Pydantic library. This is the important point. Please note that type, format, and value. There are three different key, I would say, parameters, or maybe you can say that three different direction or three different key schema approach through which Pydantic is making sure that your application is getting a valid data. All right. All right. So welcome back. As I explained you that Pydantic is primarily verifying data by using three axioms, and these are type, format, and values. All right, so this is the three things which we will consider even in source code also when we do hands-on coding. Earlier, I decided to do the hands-on coding here only, but now I think that it is better to give you this as a challenge. And so I will put one article link in my video description. First, you try your by own to learn the Pydantic. How do you use Pydantic to validate your input data or a data coming to your large language model? I mean, your application at least. And then what you do that you write your own code, validate it, and check that are you able to get it right or not. To compare your code, you can see my article, which is mentioned in video description. And if anything else you need, please put it in the comment segment. I will check the comment, and if you have any concern or if you have any query, I will definitely reply within 24 hours. By this way, at least you also get the hands-on and your dedication also verified here that how much you want to use it. Please note that if you are learning anything, only learning theory won't help you until unless you put on the code. So definitely, I recommend you anything you are listening or anything you are trying to learn, do in two stages. Stage one is get the overview, and the stage two is write code by own or by help of, my article or maybe internet source code, or maybe even any, I can say that any chatbot or any coding interface which is available in your paradigm. So use it, but be honestly, write the code, whatever you want to learn. Always do practice. Practice makes perfect, as wise men are saying. Please note that you should always follow the wise men. All right, thank you very much. Good luck to everybody who is taking this challenge, and then compare your code with my article. Please do not forget to compare, because many things possible that you did very good and our article is not done as per. Then you must say, hey Avinash, I did this one and I believe that this is great. This is better than your code, your article. I will also clap for you in that scenario, and also I acknowledge in next video of your effort. तब तक के लिए enjoy कीजिए, खुश रहिए और सीखते रहिए. Learning is the only key to get the success at any level. Either you are a software engineer or you are a VP, doesn't matter. You should always try to learn at your level so that you will improve and you will be ready for the next role. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye. Take care, guys. Good luck.